Hello and welcome back. If you're new to my channel, I'm Deirdre, and today is sort of the intro, even though it's still August, of Simple September. And what I'm going to do in September is look at a range of things that are to do with living more simply, not minimally necessarily, not even specifically essentially, but essentially is good, but simply. And I started thinking about that when I was away in Africa, and I saw how simply the vast majority of the population lived, and yet without wanting to romanticize it or patronize them, God forbid, work so hard. I would like to be able to take on board some of their ability to retain joy in life and pleasure in small things, when the rest of their life may be very, very difficult, especially by our standards. So if you want to follow along with this, do subscribe and hit that notification bell, and you can customize it and you can have all of the alerts or none of them or some of them. Okay, so you choose what's right for you and leave me a comment. I really need to know, what are your concerns? What are the things that worry you about things like what we're going to start talking about, which I know is taboo? Money. I know, money. We don't talk about things like that. We are of that generation where there were three things you did not talk about: religion, politics, God forbid, and money. These were the things that were not polite dinner table conversation. While they could be discussed in an academic sense, they most certainly were not discussed in a personal sense. So we're going to stop doing that, because there's an entire generation out there of people, and I think there are people older than me, my age, younger than me, and much younger than me, who have no flaming idea about how to manage money. Number one thing that I'm going to talk about is the budget. Now, to be fair, if you are in that situation where you are so comfortably off, as one politely puts it, that you don't ever have to think about money, then God bless you and off you go, because I don't think this is going to be the place for you. Whereas for many of us, and especially a whole group of us that are not that privileged, baby boom generation that everybody talks about, who've done so well. And yes, I know that there are many of you out there, but there are an awful lot of us who simply have somehow missed the boat on that, especially women, because we did not have savings for our retirements. It was not considered a priority in the household. And through death, divorce, or disaster of some kind or another, we find ourselves having to be careful with our money. And to be quite honest, I don't care how wealthy you are. There we are, I said that word, wealthy, not comfortable. I think that it's sensible to know what you're spending your money on, keeping a track of it at least, and trying to make the best of it that you can. So I'm going to take you through what I do. One of the things I'll do is take you through my budgeting process, which is as old as the hills and evens out all those lumps and bumps along the way. And I do it still because it's sensible. I'm nothing if not sensible. I know many people who thought that their homes were going to be their sort of superannuation, their retirement savings. And now they've come to the point where they are not going to return enough to give them their downsized life, as well as any form of savings. And that is a big issue for many people and there are others who have had career interruptions along the way. Those who have had the ability to be, less than frugal, and they've enjoyed that. But now they're coming to the age where they're going to have to be a little more accountable to themselves and to their bank accounts in order to make it through the next 30, 40 years, because we are all living so much longer, which is a good thing. But that is something we need to talk about. Number two thing that I'm going to talk about, so that was number one, is money and budgeting. Number two is simple food, which is sort of part of the money thing and sort of part of the health thing, because there's no point in living for 30 or 40 years more if we're not healthy, or as healthy as we can be. So this little experimenter here will be playing with a few things as I go along, things that I've heard, things that I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I've been listening to the Bulletproof Radio podcast, which is fascinating. A lot of it based on science, and it's just what they're talking about is science fiction as far as I'm concerned, only it's not, it's happening now. So I want to talk to you about some of those things, but also I'd like to really focus on taking my health and into my own hands, in the fact that I will manage my diet much more sensibly, and that will include, of course, meal planning, shopping, and meal prepping, and those things are really important if you're going to stick to a healthy lifestyle. I'll do that with you, and once again, please send me your ideas, send me your tips, send me things that are making you crazy because you just can't beat it. And in our community, we can solve these things. There are a lot of brains out there in this group, and I think between us all, we can really rock this. We can make our simple September something that will give us bits that we can take through into the rest of our lives. Okay, next, number 3 is the simple downsize. Now, what I've been working on and why I've been a little bit absent is a program that will take people through from the very beginning of the downsizing process right through to the end. This is obviously based on my own experience and that of many others that I know and have helped along the way, as well as, you know, my research into this area. I'd like to think that I've sort of managed it pretty well. Well, I've managed it in a way that has worked for me, and helping you to do it in a way that will work for you is actually what I'm all about. I don't think anybody should follow my pathway as if it is the only way. Every one of us has to find a way that works for them. And that agency, when you have agency, that's a really psyche word, isn't it? Okay, in psychology we talk about agency, and that's the power to make decisions within your own environment and circumstances. And it's one of the things that is associated with happiness. So even if your environment and circumstances seem to be only give, you know, sort of space for a few simple choices, being able to make those choices yourself, for yourself, in a way that suits you, that is actually the basis of happiness going forward. And people who are able to do that are, in some cases, many cases, much happier than people who may seem to have everything, you know, set out for them and it's fabulous, and hey, they didn't even have to think about it, it just, you know, happened. Those people are not necessarily happy in that because they have not had agency in it. It's a real issue about how we go forward, that even if we have only a few decisions that we can make for ourselves, it's important that we do. So we're going to be talking about downsizing and agency and anything you, once again, want to tell me that you want to talk about, because that's what I'm here for. I'm here for you. Right, well that's it. We've got through this. It's all I'm going to talk about today, and the next video will be a plan of Simple September, and I'll do videos on each of them. So the money, the budgeting, the food prep, and this, not just food prep, but the whole food and health and how you manage that, and simple downsizing and all of the things that are associated with that. So I hope that this is something that will interest you, and I hope that you as a community give me the feedback that I need to serve you properly. And with that, I will say that I will see you in the next video. I hope that whatever you're doing today is something wonderful, and I will see you soon. Bye.